After losing the spotlight to a pack of rascally rabbits, Ubisoft's limbless hero made a stunning comeback in 2011 with Rayman Origins, considered to be one of the best games in the series. The follow-up, Rayman Legends, was originally designed around the Wii U gamepad, but after a last-minute delay, it's been retooled as a multi-platform release. Rayman Legends is practically devoid of story. While the heroes were sleeping, someone came and kidnapped the blue folks known as Teensies. So it's time to get out of bed and get to work rescuing them. Instead of a map, levels in Rayman Legends are presented as a series of galleries. As you complete them and rescue Teensies, more locations and bonuses open up, soon allowing you to tackle most of the game as you'd like. Your actions are focused on running, jumping, and attacking, mastering character control with nuance and precision to tackle the deviously designed courses ahead of you. Like Origins, secret challenge rooms aren't that hard to find, typically hidden above or below the beaten path or behind a bit of scenery. But the game isn't about exploration as much as skill and timing. Each of the 5 main worlds not only introduces fantastic new settings, but also reintroduces abilities from Origins, like shrinking to explore the innards of rotting fruit, and mechanics like sticking to the shadows and undersea stealth sections. There's a rhythm and flow to the level design that makes it immensely satisfying. Harrowing chases put reaction times to the test, and the apex of the game's design comes in a handful of music-based levels, in which every jump, hit, and slide lines up to the beat of a song. As you get into a groove, a Guitar Hero-like drive kicks in. So it's not enough to simply finish these levels, you have to retry until you get every note right. It's just too bad that these stages end up being rather brief in the end. Friends can easily drop in or out at any time for 4-player mayhem. If a player gets hit or left behind, they'll turn into a bubble and need to be tagged back in, so you won't die unless everyone inflates. There's no unintentional collision between characters, although you can still slap and form towers. So Rayman is slightly less chaotic than Mario, but it can still be hard to keep track of the action. As a result, the deliberate, refined pace of the solo game becomes a steamroller of players brute forcing their way through a level, and half of you might not even understand what happened. In contrast, the addition of asymmetric co-op via the Wii U gamepad only serves to complement the game design, and it's the most effective use of the tablet controller yet. In certain levels, a second player takes the role of Murphy, using the touchscreen to cut ropes, move objects, draw platforms, and harass enemies. There's a back and forth between the two roles that creates a harmonious sense of momentum. When you're playing solo on the Wii U, there are times that you'll swap roles with Murphy, as the AI handles the hopping hero, but for all the other systems without a gamepad, the co-op mechanics are added to your single-player responsibilities. As you approach ropes to slash or strongmen to tickle, Murphy will glide to those spots automatically, and you'll tap a button for him to interact. Where a player would draw paths, Murphy will fly in a circle, and you'll have to hold the button for him as he goes. It's another layer of timing to learn, and it can be tough in fast, tricky sections. It works for the most part and adds to the challenge, but it doesn't always flow, often reminding you that you're juggling 2 roles. Thankfully, if a second player is available, you can still delegate the job to them as they can bubble up and float above the fray, focusing exclusively on managing the mirth. While you can beat the game after completing about 50 levels, there's much more to keep you busy beyond that. Invasion courses have you revisit most of the previous levels, but with significantly different arrangements of obstacles and enemies, challenging you to beat the clock before Teensies strapped to rockets get launched skyward. There's a world of bonus levels to unlock, and by earning lucky tickets, you can even return to remastered versions of Rayman Origins levels. Rayman Legends also lets you test your skills against other players in daily and weekly challenges. Some task you with collecting batches of floating lums as fast as possible, some have you race to a finish line, and others present endless levels that test how far you can get without dying. Your accomplishments are then ranked on a leaderboard, but the thresholds for success depend on the competition. So you could start with a platinum trophy in the morning, only to get knocked down to gold or silver if enough players best your score by the end of the day. While the templates for these levels do get somewhat familiar, it's still great to be able to take on a fresh trial day after day. If there's one thing for certain, it's that Rayman Legends is an absolute feast for the senses. The art and music are superb, with layered backgrounds popping with creative touches. What's even more impressive is how the hand-painted appearance of the 2D visuals is blended with 3D models and effects that remain in touch with the style. Towering bosses don't feel out of place, and the environments are augmented with fluids, particles, and subtle lighting. Both visually and mechanically, Rayman Legends consistently sparks the imagination. The co-op play on the Wii U is something that really must be experienced, and while the implementation isn't a perfect fit on other platforms, it does little to hold the game back. While we certainly wouldn't advocate carbon copies, we hope Rayman Legends paints a vision for other 2D games to follow.